Kia ora everyone, welcome back to the channel and to our favourite video of the month, completed pages. So this is everything I coloured in the month of April 2024. For all our new friends joining us on the channel, kia ora, my name is Amy. I am a colourist based in Aotearoa, New Zealand, and I am really excited to bring you this month's pages because I think some of this month's pages are going to be my favourite of the year. I am really proud of a lot of these pages, and there's definitely some favourites in here. So, I have 24 pages to show you today. And I know this is going to be a long video because this is actually the second time I've had to record this due to some technical issues. So, I highly suggest you grab a cup of tea or coffee, at least some water, a snack, sit back, get comfortable, and we're going to go through all these completed pages. So the order of the books that I'm showing you today is not in the order of completion, they are just in size order because it's the easiest to put them to the stack. So yeah, no particular order, just as they are organised. So the first one I'm going to show you is an Antique Dollhouse colouring by Yumiko Tezuka. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. And this one was actually a buddy colour with the wonderful Emily of E-Art Studios here on YouTube and Instagram. I'm going to show you their image here. It is absolutely gorgeous. I love how it turned out. I love the bright yellow background and the way that reflects the light, the lights that are showing, and just the beautiful soft rose gold of the lantern itself. Emily did such a good job and it was such a joy to buddy with them. So thank you so much, and please check out their channel as well. I will display their username on screen here and of course tag them down below as well. But for my page, if the tags want to stay in. As I said, I've already recorded this once, so I had to go back and re-tag everything after taking all the tags out. So this is my version of the page. So as you can see, we did the room and the lantern page. Now for mine, I used Distress ink for the background, which I activated to get the splatter effect. Also note, this book, it did not bleed through when I activated the Distress ink. So I'm very excited to do some more mixed media in here because that is a really good sign about the paper. And then I used Polychromos pencils for all the shading itself and my Liquitex gold acrylic ink to colour in the lantern. So it has got like a shimmery reflectiveness to it. And yeah, I really wanted to do like a soft vintagey style palette. Still think I went a bit bright. It's not quite 100%, but I am very pleased with the outcome. This is a very odd palette for me, but I do like it. It's not 100%, but I'm pleased with what I have achieved because I am someone who does very bright, bold colours. So going quite soft and delicate is very difficult for me. So I'm very pleased at what I did manage to achieve. And I have a lot more of this book to keep practicing my sort of vintagey palettes on. So yeah, plenty to keep practicing on in this gorgeous book. So that is Yumiko Tezuka, Antique Dollhouse Colouring. You can find a flip through of this book on my channel. I then have a page in Spooky by Sara Szewczyk. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And this one is my first page in this book. And I did the jackalope. So I wasn't 100% sure when I put this book into the pile on what page I wanted to do. I just knew I really wanted to work in this gorgeous book. Unfortunately, it doesn't want to stay down, sorry. So I do have to sort of keep fingers in frame here. So yeah, I wasn't sure which page I wanted to do. However, Christina's Art Corner has a hashtag for colouring in this book, and this was the page that was chosen for April. So I just went with this page. It just made it easy. And yeah, I really like how it turned out. So I was really in the mood to play with watercolour, so I pulled out my Winsor and Newton Cotman watercolours, and I used that for the whole page, for all the actual shading and everything. And then I splattered some around as well, which is all the darker dots that you see on the page. And then I pulled out my Kaisercraft shimmer spray for the iridescent gold, just to add a bit of magic everywhere. There's a little bit of Posca to bring out all this little star details and re-highlight the eye shinies. And then I did add in some stickles just to add even more sparkle to the page, because it's me and I love my glitter and sparklies. So yeah, it was a very simple page, but I really enjoyed doing it. And the paper, unfortunately, isn't the greatest for wet media, but luckily the book is single-sided, so I don't care too much. So that is Spooky by Sara Szewczyk. So my third and fourth page are in 30 Days of Creativity by Johanna Basford. Now this is a personal project book of mine that I have undertaken. I am approaching this book to fulfill a need that I've been having lately. I've been missing art journaling and scrapbooking, but I also really love colouring, and I didn't want to take time away from colouring to do some scrapbooking. And then I was like, well, why don't I do those processes in a colouring book? And I was trying to figure out what book to use for it. And then I stumbled across 30 Days of Creativity, and I was like, hang on, this book is about being creative, adding in your own details, your own drawings. It's like, that will work perfectly because it's about being creative. So this book, while it is in my colouring book collection, and there will be pages that are just straight colour, I also plan on collaging, painting, drawing. Yeah, I don't have a set page by page plan, but I've got a lot of things that I want to experiment and try in here and just have a lot of fun in here. So this is going to be a bit of a wild colouring book, but I'm looking forward to the results. So let me show you what I have done. I am also working front to back in this one, so just for ease of working through. So the first page is, of course, the first page. So for this one, I did just colour it in as it was, because that's what I felt like the page was all about. So I used Prismacolor for all the details of these flowers and the pencils and the grass, and then I used my Distress inks for in here. And then this is a silver Posca pen, so depending on the light, you can either see the line and the writing really, really well, or you can barely see it at all, which is quite fun. You're just seeing some stuff pop through there. And then the second page. So if you saw my May plans video, you would have seen these robots coloured in and nothing else on the page. And I was like, meh about it. And that was because I felt like the page needed more. So I did colour in these robots with some W.H. Smith metallic gel pens. And then I did just use some Crayola pencils just to colour in the extra details around and shade a little bit of the grass. It's like, it's cute. The page is essentially coloured, but it doesn't feel complete. But I'm okay to move on until I figure out what I want to do with the page. And then I was cleaning up and I found a Ziploc baggie. And I was like, I wonder if that would work to just add a bit of protection over the gel pen, because the gel pen did start transferring to this side. And so I measured it up and it was a good size to just stick in there. And I was like, well, it's a baggie. I could put something in there. We could turn it almost into like a shaker card. So why don't I just shove some sequins and glitter inside it? Probably added a bit too much, but also it's kind of fun. So yeah, I added a bunch of sequins and glitter, and then I sealed it all up so the baggie can't pop open, stuck it in, and then I found this really beautiful, bright, colourful magazine page. And I was like, that'll work. That kind of ties in. So cut it to size, cut out a little window so we could see our robots with all the shakers, and stuck that in. So technically this page is done and I feel happy to move on. However, I am feeling like I might want to put a bit of washi around here just to frame it. And I think I have some stencils that are like gears and bolts, and so that might be quite cool to sort of stamp onto here just to sort of tie in the robots a little bit more. So it's done, but I might go back and add to it. So that is something to keep in mind with this book, is that while a page may feel complete, as I move on in the book, something may inspire me to add back to the page. So nothing's technically complete, but it's complete. If that makes sense. It's a very hard concept to explain. And so, yeah, the next page will be this one, and you can see my little offcuts here that I've been keeping. I kind of think I want to use this in the center here, so I might see if I can like photocopy this in reverse so that I can easily cut it out, because it's going to be a lot of fussy cutting. Otherwise, I have to sort of cut a hole into the page, which that is just the introduction, so I could look at doing that, or just photocopy that and re-stick it back on top or something. I don't know. That's future Amy's problem. There's going to be a lot of like playing around in this book, and I'm really excited. It's really making me excited to not only work in this book, but to also get that creative need I've had to like scrapbook and art journal and play around with all my random scrapbooking, card making, painting supplies that I have about. Like, I have a ton of stuff that I'm looking forward to playing with. So yeah, that is 30 Days of Creativity by Johanna Basford. A new arrival this month was Garden Gnomes by Teresa Goodridge. It finally came in. It took a while for my copy to come in, but when it did, oh my gosh, I love this book. It is so cute. And this is my first Gnomes Teresa Goodridge colouring book, so I kind of think I might need to get some more because I really enjoyed it. And again, I couldn't figure out what page I wanted to do because they're all so cute, so I just did the very first page. It was easy. And so for this one, I actually used Crayola Super Tips. Nothing else, just Crayola Super Tips. Just sitting in bed, I wasn't feeling too great. Had my box of markers beside me and just shaded in with the markers. And I really like how it turned out. It really suits those bright, vibrant colours. And yeah, Crayola Super Tips I used a lot this month. So I actually ended up buying another box of them because I used a lot of Crayola this month. I was really enjoying them. So that is Garden Gnomes by Teresa Goodridge. And then because I had so much fun in the Teresa Goodridge one, I wanted to keep working on the Crayola Super Tips in a Creative Haven book, so I pulled out Witchcraft by Jessica Mazurkiewicz. I'm more than likely pronouncing that wrong. This is my only non-Teresa Goodridge Creative Haven book. But yeah, I had a quick flip through here, and I found this page with this black cat, and I was like, oh, I kind of like that. So, same deal. I was still in bed working away on this, just Crayola Super Tips, although this time I did pull out a generic gold glitter gel pen for all the gold details, and the silver is a generic silver metallic gel pen. So yeah, very simple and really straightforward, but again, this was a really bad pain day in bed, and it was just a lot of fun, and it was exactly what I needed. In retrospect, I should probably pull out a white Posca and just add some highlights to these crystals, just so it's like really clear that these are crystals. Feel like they're kind of missing that. I might go in and do that at some point, but at the time, I really could not mobilize to get my Posca. I was like, done. So, we have Super Cute Animals by Kaleidoscope Colouring. This is produced by Hinkler. This is a collection of like Shutterstock images, so they are kind of generic, but they are super cute. And I did a lot of really complicated pages this month, so there are a couple of simpler pages broken into here, just so I had something fun and chill to work on in between these like really detailed pages that I was putting a lot of effort into. So I did one in here, and it is this bear with a flower unicorn topper wearing a dinosaur outfit. It's a weird combo, but it's so cute, and I was like, I just really want to color that, so I did. So I used alcohol markers as the base, and then just Crayola pencils to do all the shading, and I used my Anko paint pen set to do all the little highlights around, and just a little bit of Reno Art glitter gel paint to go over the heart, so they have a little bit of sparkle. So yeah, just a really simple page, but it was super cute, and I really enjoyed doing it after a crazy day, just needing some fun, relaxing colouring. So that is Super Cute Animals by Kaleidoscope Colouring, which is produced by Hinkler, one of my kid colouring books, which the collection of kids colouring books actually grew this month with a new purchase. This is Princess Colouring Book. Now, every time I pop into the mall, which is frequently because I have to go and get medication quite frequently, there is a bookstore right beside where I get my medication from. So I'm always popping in there and just having a look to see, you know, what new colouring books they might have in. Because they have started getting more and more colouring books as I've been buying colouring books, which is so cool. But yes, I check out the adult colouring section, but I always check out the kids colouring section too, because sometimes they put some adult books in the kids sections, not realising that they're technically adult colouring books. I have found a couple of Lulu Mayos in there, so there's a tip for you. But yes, I was looking through and I saw this one, which was new to the shelf, and so I was just having a flick for it, and I was like, oh, that's really cute. Paper's terribly thin, but oh, it's really cute. And unlike a lot of the kids' colouring books, a lot of the style, like the style was the same all the way through. It was very clearly one distinct style for all the characters. So I was like, this must have a dedicated illustrator and not just be like clip art or something like that. So I flipped to the back to see who the illustrator was, and I don't know if you're going to be able to pick it up, but the illustrator is actually Fabiana Attanasio. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh, hell's yes, we're purchasing this book, because I love Fabiana Attanasio's work. So I was very excited to find this. So yeah, if you're looking for a super cute book by Fabiana Attanasio, look for the Princess Colouring Book. There is the ISBN if anyone needs it. And yeah, if you want me to do a complete flip through of this, let me know, because again, it's super cute. Paper, terribly thin, but super cute. And it is single-sided, which helps as well. But yes, once again, I just did the first page because it's super cute, but I couldn't decide what to do. So I used alcohol markers to colour the whole page in. And then I used the Anko paint pens to do some highlights. And I did pull out my stickles just to add some glitter to the butterflies and a little bit on her cheek and to her dress and all that. And I was thinking about adding in a background here, but I didn't want to do it in pencils. I didn't want to colour in this big expanse of space with alcohol markers. I thought about possibly pulling out some watercolours or something, but as you can see, the paper is already barely coping with the alcohol markers. I did put a lot of layers of alcohol marker down though, so I did really saturate the page there, so I don't think it'll handle wet media. So I'm just not 100% sure. I might just pull out an alcohol marker and just draw it in some clouds or something, or maybe even just paint pen draw it in some clouds, or I'm not sure. So I'm considering it done because it's done, but at some stage I may also go in and add a background if I can figure out what marker or medium to use. I also have some water-soluble oil pastels, so that could be an option because they're very soft and creamy and they don't take much water to activate. So, options. But for now, I'm considering it done because even if I don't put a background, it's still super cute and I'm happy with it. So that is Princess Colouring Book by Fabiana Attanasio. I then have 2 Selena Fennick colouring books. I am slowly working my way through these icky soft touch cover books. They're so gross to touch and I still have not covered them. I still cannot find where my clear book covering is, so I will find it one day. But yes, this is the first time I've worked in either of these books, and it's actually the first time I've worked with such dark grayscale as well, and I really enjoyed it. It was surprisingly fun. So the first one I did, which is in Fairy Art in Grayscale, is this Nimoy Winter Fairy, and I kind of want to make this an actual bookmark, but I also would then have to remove it from the book. However, there's 2 copies of each image in this book, so I could technically redo it and then cut it out and turn it into a bookmark. I just think it's super cute. So yeah, for here I used alcohol markers to base and shade everything. And then I did pull out my W.H. Smith metallic gel pens to do this blue frame and these silver dots. And then on top of the wings, I also used stickles. So I used a blue that sort of matched the wings, but then I also pulled out, I have one that's like extra chunky. I think it's called Icicle. And I was trying to create like a gradient effect on the wing. However, it appears I missed a whole section here. So yeah, but I'm very pleased with the wings. I like the effect. And again, very simple, but very, very fun. And it's super cute. I'm really happy with the result. Also, the paper in these grayscale books are completely different from my line versions of these books. This one feels more like an actual absorbent material, almost like your standard copy paper. So the mark is actually absorbed into the page. Whereas in the line colouring books, the line versions of these books, the paper almost feels plasticky and the mediums just sit on top and absorb weird, and like markers go so splotchy, and I don't know what it is about the paper in those ones, but I prefer the paper in these grayscale ones. So I should see if I can figure out where they were printed and what the difference is. I don't know. They're very different paper-wise, and I definitely preferred the grayscale one. So yeah, that was Grayscale Colouring Fairy Art by Selena Fennick. And then I have one in Mermaids, which technically I could have left for May because mermaid, but I also just really wanted to colour it then. And it is this Pearl Princess. And again, I just used alcohol markers for basing and shading, which it isn't a lot. You're just deepening the shading that's there, really. And then I used a Posca to bring out highlights to make things pop out, especially on like the middle here. And went over all the bubbles. And then I used stickles just to add some glitter to the bubbles, and also her tail as well, so she's got a bit of glitter coming up her body. So that was my page in Mermaids, Grayscale Colouring by Selena Fennick. I also have this exact book in line version, so technically every image I have 4 times because each book has 2 copies, and I have both the grayscale and the line versions of this book because of finding them secondhand and combo deals. So yeah, a lot of potential mermaids there. Excuse me while I have a drink. Alright. Yep, we are the right way up. I coloured my first ever Matchstick Mouse page. So I have Matchstick Mouse Winter by Morgan O'Brien. This is a digital copy of the book that I downloaded from his Ko-fi. And once again, because I could not decide what page to do, I just did the first page. It's a running theme this month. There's so many gorgeous pages in here though. So yeah, I just went with the first page. Again, this is a rather simple colouring page, but it really helped break up a lot of the complicated pages that you'll see coming up, because there are a lot of complicated pages coming up. So for this one, I used my alcohol markers, and I don't name the brand of the alcohol markers because I literally have a bin full of them, and they are various brands. Yes, I have a couple of Copics. I have old Letraset Pro markers and Flex markers before they became Winsor & Newton. I also have some of the Winsor & Newton ones. I have some Anko ones, which are Kmart, but they are a white label product, and the exact same marker is also branded with Reno Art and Monty Mart, I think, is another brand that has the same one. And then I have some that have got like Cool Touch or something, but they're also the same as Two Touch, and then another generic one as well. Like, literally, it is a random assortment of markers. So when I say alcohol markers, who knows what brand they are? It's just whatever colour works. So yes, alcohol markers. And then I did use a little bit of Posca just to do a bit of snow outlining and redefining some of the snowdrops that I'd accidentally coloured over, for example. And then I pulled out stickles in the, I think it's called Frosted Lace. It's like a really fine white glitter. I don't use it often, but it worked really well here for little snowdrops. I think it was really pretty. I kind of want to cover like all the snow in it, but that's a lot of stickles. But also, it's a lot of stickles, and it'll be so pretty. I might do that on another page. I might just cover a whole page in glitter for the snow. But yeah, that was my first page in Matchstick Mouse Winter. Yes, again, so many gorgeous pages. We're, of course, moving to winter here, so a very appropriate book to be working in. Alright, starting to get into a more complicated page. I did say they were coming up. So this is Curiously Cute Manga. I can never remember the names of who actually illustrated this book, but it is Desti and Jolene Yeo at the Collateral Damage Studios and Harry Thornton. So this is a really gorgeous book produced by Lom. Again, let me know if you want to flip through on the channel, because I don't think I've seen this one anywhere else. It was another random bookstore find, and I was like, that'll be mine. Super, super cute. But I completed my first page in here. And again, this kind of could have worked for May, but I really wanted to colour it in April. And it is the Siren of the Sea page. I am 99.99999% happy with this page. The only thing I'm not happy with is her eyelashes, because of me not thinking and grabbing the wrong pen to do that. So they're too chunky. If I grabbed the right pen and done it finer, or done it in a dark purple or something less intense than the black, this page would be perfect. I love how this turned out. And again, it is Crayola Super Tips. There is also a little bit of Staedtler Tri-Plus Fine Liners, which was another new purchase this month. I got in fact, they're just down here. I got the 36 set of fine liners, specifically because I was using the Crayola markers so much, and I know I'd watched videos of people layering them on top and using them to add in some fine details. So it's like, I'm loving the Crayola Super Tips so much. Let me grab these as well to add in the fine details. So I could do things like just add in a bit of definition to the tail or the hair. Definitely a good investment for working with these, plus like these tiny little teeth and stuff. So good. Oh, excuse me, I seem to have the hiccups. I probably just drank too fast then. So yeah, as I said, primarily Crayola Super Tips for the whole thing. Lots of stippling for shading and layering, and just so much fun. So much fun to do this page. It made me feel like a little kid colouring in with my Crayola Super Tips, but I enjoyed it thoroughly. And then I also used the Crayola Super Tips watered out to expand out the water here and create this more pastel version. And then I did grab a Posca and Stickles just to do the little subtle bubbles on top, just so it has a little bit of sparkle up there. And I think I added a tiny touch of Posca to the eyes just to bring that highlight back out. But that was pretty much it. Again, it is 90% Crayola Super Tips. Really, really fun page. Really gorgeous book. Luckily single-sided. And yeah, there's actually a lot of pages I could do in here for Mermaid too if I had not pulled out so many already. You never know, I might get tempted to do another one in there. Right, another new book for me to work in this month was Dark Art Supernatural by Francis Goitier. Now, before I flip to this page, I am just going to put a warning out there that there is blood on this page. Not my literal blood, like there is an illustration of blood. Let's make that clear. But yes, this is a vampire lady, so it does have like illustrated blood on the page. I know some people aren't comfortable with that, so I do want to just put that out there. Please feel free to just skip ahead a minute or so and not worry if you are someone who doesn't like to see blood. I'm not someone who usually does a lot of like spooky colouring, but I really loved this page from an artistic sense. And this is the page here. So we're going to have to try and get this without Prisma Shine because this whole page is done in Prismacolor, and I love how it turned out. Hopefully my camera can pick this up. I'm still having a few technical issues with my camera. I might need to look into getting some better lights or something. It's a process. But yeah, when I saw this page, I just love the dynamic pose and the movement created between the, you know, blood splattering everywhere and the roses that are flying everywhere. And as soon as I saw it, I knew I wanted to create a really strong backlight from the window, like the moon is creating this lighting effect. And then also have this cut beer glow effect, so you can see little bits of yellow. And it gave a really dramatic lighting with this sharp blue light behind and then this little yellow glow coming this way. So yeah, it was really fun to play with the lighting effects. Now, it's not entirely perfect. And because I use Prisma for it, actually, did I base it with alcohol markers? I did base it with alcohol markers. Yeah, because it's Prisma, of course, we got the shiny wax bloom and stuff in areas where I couldn't quite build up enough layers. So I probably should have used polychromos to do this, but I was in a Prisma mood. It happens. But yeah, I love how it turned out with the fun dramatic lighting, and yeah, it kind of makes me want to colour some more in here. There are some really gorgeous pages in here. Some of them, again, are quite gory, and that's not... I'm not opposed to gore. I work in a medical lab, so, you know, I've seen some stuff. I used to do postmortems when we did them in the region. I was one of the technicians that did them, so trust me, I'm okay with literal gore, but I tend to not colour it so much. But I don't mind it. I just like bright, happy rainbow glitters, you know. But maybe. I really enjoy the work of Francis Goitier. Alright, anyone waiting for me to finish that book, it's now safe to open your eyes. But yes. Oh, so much talking. Alright, so speaking of rainbow glittery happiness, I did my first page in Lost Ocean by Johanna Basford. And it is rainbow glitter happiness. So this is when I got the Staedtler fine liners, the Tri Plus fine liners. I really want to get the 60 set, but trying to get that in New Zealand is near impossible. I can get the 50, but I can only get up to the 36 individually in terms of replacing colours as I use them up. So I'm like, do I need a 50 if I can't replace the colours, and I'd have to buy a whole set to replace some of the colours when they run out? Maybe. I don't know. I started with the 36. It was on sale and it was available locally, so it was something to try. But yeah, I might look at getting the 50s because I really enjoyed working with them. This was it's a bad pain day. I have to work in bed. And so I just sat there with the box of fine liners and this page and just started working in a rainbow gradient. And I love how it turned out. It gives me a new way to approach Johanna Basford. And I think doing Millie Mariotta with these as well would also be really good. I mean, I'm happy because it's rainbow. And I do want to do this jellyfish in the same way, but I want to reverse it. So we start with the pink, purple, blue, and then work our way down to the red. And then this page also had this scroll border like this page has here. But genuinely, I could not be bothered. This was Amy being lazy. So I just cut out glitter tape and then cut it around very carefully around the edges so that it didn't cover over the image. And I was going to cover the whole thing. However, I might do the same thing on here, except it's a lot more fussy cutting with the jellyfish. So what I might do instead is do the gradient, color in the border, and then cut out circles. Like I've got a little circle punch that I might be able to use on this washi, or I'll just like manually cut out some circles and stick on some circle glitter dots in these three colors, and then I can go back in and either repeat the pattern inward or just fill it in with the white. We'll see. I know, I feel like this should be a double page set, but for now I just did the 3 lines just in case I ran out of the tape if I was going to do all 3 lines for this page. I also have glitter tapes in other colours, so I could just do a different colour around it. I don't know. When we get to this page, we'll figure that out. I just didn't want to do this page at the time. I was just happy doing this one. And it was my first page in Lost Ocean by Johanna Basford. And this book is the reason why I didn't want to do the jellyfish in Lost Ocean. This is Circle of Life by Malpamini Chatsapanagatu, who I purposely learnt how to pronounce her name of finally. This is the last book that I needed to complete my Malpamini trio. Of course, there is a new one coming out, so I'll get that eventually. But I really do love her work. This one came in this month, so I had to work on it straight away. And we chose the jellyfish in here. So again, this is another fine liners page. I was doing the 2 of them in bed together at the same time and just playing around with different colors. This one I was pushing the gradients to see if I could actually shade with them, which you can do. So that was really cool. Also, did not bleed through at all, which is fantastic. And then with this one, I did also grab a generic gold glitter gel pen just to do all these little bits, and there's a little bit of the W.H. Smith metallic for all the little blue dots as well. But yeah, primarily fine liners on this one. I just felt like this one also needed a bit of sparkle, but this one's a lot more subtle sparkle. So yeah, that was my page in Circle of Life by Malpamini Chatsapanagatu. I then have Symphony of Cute Animals by Kanako Agusa. I think I'm pronouncing that one right. It's been ages learning it, but then I haven't coloured any of her work in a while, so I've kind of forgotten how to say it. And this one is actually a buddy colour. So I will show you Perfection Cider. Make sure I'm saying that right. Perfection Cider. I will show you their gorgeous page here first. They actually approached me about doing this buddy colour in this book, and I was like, heck yes, because I do love colouring cats. And I love how Perfection has coloured the page. They do a lot of really beautiful, glittery, bright, really interesting pages. And like, this page is so glittery in real life. It is so gorgeous. And the colours of the yarn, I have literal yarn that colour. So when I saw the yarn, I was like, I know the yarn. I have that yarn. So that was quite cool as well. So thank you again, Perfection Cider, so much for buddying up with me. And please check them out on Instagram down below. They do not have a YouTube, but they are very active on Instagram. They do a lot of pages on there, so please check them out. But in a completely different vein, here is my page. We did very different approaches to the page, which is really cool to see. I love when a page is so different. And I also really love how this one turned out. So for the background, I did Distress ink, which I then splattered with water to activate as well, which of course bled through like crazy, but I'm not too worried about this one because I can just paint over the background. That'll be easy peasy. And it is very minimal bleed through on the actual elements of the page, so I know I can fix this one up. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. This is a long video. We'll keep hydrating. So yeah, Distress ink for the background. And then I don't know if you'll be able to see it. It's very subtle. So there you go. You can kind of see that little shimmery reflect up here. It's over the whole background. And the reason for that is after I had spritzed the Distress ink with the water, I grabbed a tissue to dab it off and to pick up the colour. So that's what creates the splatter effect. And I had a tissue, but I also had the tissue that I had been using to do the spooky page. And that is because when I do the gold Kaisercraft shimmer spray or any of the shimmer sprays, I do a spritz into a tissue first so that I can half press down the button to half spritz. And that creates more splatter effect. So that's a little trick for you if you're using any sort of spray bottle. Do a full spray, keep the pressure down. So do a spray into like a tissue or something. And then only halfway release it, and it creates more of like a splatter rather than a fine mist. So I had done that into, I had, done the first spray into the tissue and then done the gold splatter spritz. And I accidentally picked up this tissue. Now the Kaisercraft shimmer spray had mostly dried on this tissue, but I did not realize, and so I started dabbing with it on here. And the water reactivated some of that shimmer spray and transferred it as I was dabbing off. And I was like, oh no. But then I looked at it and I was like, wait, hang on. This is actually really cool. So yeah, it's a really subtle little sparkle in the background. Because again, it was mostly dry on the tissue. I just hadn't chucked it into the bin yet because I was doing a bunch of colouring. But it picked up just that little touch in little areas. And it just works. It's so good. Such an accident, but I love the result. And then for the actual colouring itself, this is entirely done in Prismacolors. And I wanted to keep with a very limited palette. So very simple, especially for me. Not my usual colour palette, but I really like how it turned out. I'm very pleased with this one. Especially with my accidental perfect background. Happy accidents, I tell ya. So that is my page in Symphony of Cute Animals by Kanako Agusa. Right, make sure my drink isn't casting a shadow. I am starting to really lose my voice here. Alright, we have a double page spread in Morphia by Kirby Rosanis. And it is this Wales page here. So this was done before I had discovered 30 Days of Creativity and set that up as my sort of art journaling book. Because, again, I've been really having this need to do play around with scrapbooking papers and different bits and pieces and just stick things and just have fun. So this Wales page was, I know that there's another one around here somewhere. There's like a crocodiles page. There we go. Very similar to this crocodiles page where it's like, fill the crocodiles with patterns. It was very similar here. It was fill the whales with patterns. I didn't want to do that. So instead, I spent ages using baking paper. Wow, Amy. Wow. Wow, we're really losing the plot here. Using baking paper to trace out each of the whales And then I had a curated set of scrapbooking papers that were themed around the beach and the ocean. So I just chose different papers, cut out the elements, stuck them all down, and that was how I created the whales. And I did go around with a Sharpie fine liner just to define each of the whales and add in the little eye details. So in future, if I was to do that again, I would actually photocopy the page because that would save a lot of effort. That would be a heck of a lot easier. But it was a really fun technique to do all that. And then for the background itself, which I did before I layered on all the scrapbooking papers, I used my Winsor & Newton Cotman watercolors and then my Kaisercraft shimmer sprays, and I just went wild over the page. But I forgot a crucial step in that I did not gesso the page first. So future Amy has a bit of a nightmare situation in terms of cleanup, but we'll make it work. Again, this page is set in a forest, so I'm sure I can make that one work. And when it comes to this lizard creature, we'll just theme this whole thing greens and blues. So we'll make it work, you know? It's future Amy's problems. I'm just happy to have a page done in Morphia by Kirby Rosans. Oh, let's not knock off stuff from the desk. I completed a page in A Court of Thorns and Roses. This is a colouring book based on the series by Sarah J. Maas. It is actually a collection of artists. I think it's at the back here. Yeah, so the illustrations are by Charlie Bowater, Adrian Didich, Yvonne Gilbert, John Howe, and Craig Phillips. Now, I don't actually know which page I worked on in terms of numbers. I have a feeling it's 23 for some reason, but I could be very wrong. But what I did was this gorgeous page of Elaine in her garden. So this page here, and yes, I was re-listening for the upteenth time to A Court of Thorns and Roses while I coloured this because, of course, I do really love the series. But I really wanted to do something bright and florally and spring summer vibes. Of course, seeing all the spring summer themed colouring that's coming out for a lot of people that are in the other hemisphere. And I was just feeling sad and missing out because, of course, we're into autumn winter here. And then I used my Inktense pencils, plus a little bit of Albert Dürer for certain colours when I didn't have the right colour in Inktense. And I really wanted to stick with like a watercolour-y vibe, keeping things very light and loose and just really enjoying playing with the effects that you can get with the water-soluble pencils. I did pull out a little bit of Posca to do like some little white flowers here. And of course a little bit of stickles on the butterfly because it's me. How could you not? So yeah, that is my page in A Court of Thorns and Roses, inspired by the book series by Sarah J. Maas. We're almost there. I now have a bunch of mythographic books. I did 4 mythographic pages this month. This is what I mean about slightly more complicated pages. So the first one is a Fabiana Attanasio. This is Enchanted Castles. I love how this page turned out. It's really simple in concept, but I just love the result. So I knew as soon as I saw this page, I wanted rainbow butterflies. So the actual butterflies are just done in... Did I use Prismas? I used Prismas for the butterflies. just so I could get a really good soft blend with all them. And then I did use a black Posca and a white Posca to do all the details so that the butterflies would really, really pop. And then for the castle itself, I wanted this really neutral. I didn't really want a lot of focus on it, so I did choose to just do the whole thing brown. Now, I kind of wish I'd done grey, or maybe even like pink, or something a little bit more receding rather than brown, but the brown works. It was just mostly I wanted it one colour. I didn't want a lot of variances in it. I could have done like these roofs and buildings different colour, but I really wanted all the colour to be in the rainbow butterflies. So I kept the actual castle and the stones and all that all browns, really simple. And then these dandelions I wanted to do very light, so I did them just in an ivory Posca. And the background, originally I used my Inktense pencils to base everything. And then I wasn't really happy with the colour, so I pulled out, I don't know the brand unfortunately, I was at my mum's at the time and she had this beautiful shimmery top coat paint that's got a blue to pink shift. So I just pulled that out for the sky itself, and I love how that turned out. And then to make the clouds pop, I actually just used some stickles on top of the clouds. So yeah, lots of media on this page, but I love how it turned out. I love my rainbow butterflies. They're so bright and vibrant and happy. So that is my page in Enchanted Castles by Fabiana Attanasio. And then we have Fairy Wonderland, which is also a Fabiana Attanasio colouring book. And this one is actually a buddy colour. So this is with the wonderful Jess from Colouring Bumblebee, both here on YouTube and Instagram. So I will, of course, tag below and put up here, but I'm going to put up Jess's picture first, and look how it turned out. It's so gorgeous. Jess always has like really beautiful palettes and does the most gorgeous soft colouring, and it's just so pretty. And I love how she approached her page. So thank you again, Jess, for buddying with me on this. We actually had a buddy planned in Symphony of Cute Animals. However, at the start of the month, my elevator broke down. Last time it broke down for 3 weeks. So I went up to my mum's, but I forgot the book that we were meant to buddy with, and I wasn't sure how long I was going to be up there for. So I happened to mention this in a video which Jess saw, and then she messaged me and was like, hey, it kind of works out because I'm kind of over Easter colouring, because our page was an Easter page. She's like, I'm kind of over it. Can we change? I saw you just got in Fairy Wonderland and I want to work in there too. So do you want to switch to this book? And I was like, heck yeah. So that's how we ended up on this book. But now let me actually show you my version. So yeah, I wasn't 100% sure if this was a fox or a wolf. I'm pretty sure it's meant to be a fox, but it could also be a wolf. I know, I looked at both white fox and white wolf pictures for inspiration for this, because all I knew is I wanted to colour this white. And that I wanted to have the little circles be the lights of this page. So I had a lot of fun figuring out the lighting effects and how colours reflect and bounce off stuff, and making sure like these pink lanterns were reflected in the white fur, or the pink of the fae was reflected in the white fur. All these different bits and pieces, and then like if this is glowing, what does it highlight, what shadows are it creating. It took a while to figure that all out, but I love the result, and I am pretty sure this is going to be one of my favorites for the year, because I am very, very pleased with this one. So in terms of material, I used a regular combo for me. My Derwent Inktense is the base, the on top is Prismacolor, and then I used Posca to like outline and add in some fur details, and then a little bit of stickles on the wings just for a bit of glitter. I did also use a gold metallic gel pen just to do these details on the lanterns as well. So yeah, that is my page in Fairy Wonderland by Fabiana Attanasio. I love this book. And then the third mythographic and the fourth Fabiana Attanasio page this month, because remember, Princess Colouring is also Fabiana Attanasio, is this page here. So in the back of the book, I think they call this one Sea Green. But this is one where I looked at the page and I just immediately knew exactly what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted a dark blue, I wanted pale white here, and like lots of purples and blues and greens and translucent jellyfish. And one thing I am really particularly proud of on this page is that there's actually 14 hidden objects. This is unfortunately one of the hidden object books, and it is the most random hidden objects book. So there's like a cabana, I don't know what that is, a diamond, piggyback, poker chip, bunting, can of tuna, thimble, rope, candy, a whisk, letter, industrial stapler, a ping pong pedal, and a hanger that were in this page. Like, none of that makes sense. I managed to hide everything. This was the piggy bank. This was the poker chip. The cleaver was down here. The cabana, whatever that thing is in the jellyfish here. I think the rope was down here. There was something back here. Like, I hid as much as I could. And I'm very pleased with that because I feel like I successfully hid every single object as well. And until I pointed out, you don't know that they're there. So I'm very pleased with that, as well as the colour scheme and the effect and my translucent jellyfish. I coloured so many jellyfish this month. I don't know. I guess I was just eager for mermaid. Which, if you don't know, I don't just colour mermaids in mermaid. I also colour ocean creatures. So I guess I was just preemptively doing it. But yes, in terms of material, I did my regular Inktense base. This one I used Polychromos for shading. I used Posca for highlights and the translucent jellyfish to make that sort of inner body section. The gold is also my gold metallic Posca. And then stickles, which I put all over the ocean so it would be all beautiful and sparkly, like it's reflecting that gorgeous galaxy space sky. So yeah, I think this is going to be another one of my favourites for the year. I really love how this one turned out as well. Again, just really, really pleased with it. Oh, and I did also use some Albert Durers to base her as well, because of course I don't have these pale colours in Inktense. So that was based in Albert Durers. My apologies. Yeah, and then also while I was colouring this, I accidentally dropped a cup of water on the page over here as well. Luckily it all fell over here. But I've got some fun creasing to deal with on this page. But again, future Amy's problem. So yeah, that was my page in Dream Garden by Fabiana Attanasio. And then the fourth mythographic is in Wild Winter by Joseph Kitterbang. This was another new book in this month. And it just feels so appropriate because it has snapped to winter here in New Zealand. It is very cold. Even though I think technically we're still in fall, but it feels like winter. It's very icy all of a sudden here, at least in my region. So yeah, when I saw this page, I was like, I need to colour this one. Because immediately I saw doing a frosty cold outside, but then a contrasting warm snuggly inside, which is, you know, one of my favourite winter moods, when it's cold and icy and rainy and wet and horrible outside and you're all snuggly and warm inside. It's just such a mood. So yeah, that was the idea behind it. Again, I did use Inktense for basing everything. I used Polychromos to shade. I used Posca to do all the highlights around. And then instead of stickles, this background is Mod Podge Extreme Glitter. I also used my W.H. Smith metallic markers to colour in the snowflakes. And originally, when I had planned out the background in these markers, there was a lot more contrast. This background was a lot darker and these appeared a lot lighter. However, when I added the Mod Podge Extreme Glitter, it actually lightened up the background so much with all the light being reflected from the glitter that the snowflakes now are a lot more, they're very similar in colour. However, I don't mind it because to me it kind of looks like the icicle snowflakes are clear, and so you just don't get that glitter reflect through them because there's like clear frozen water here in the form of a snowflake. So yeah, wasn't what I intended, but I also really like it. So that is my page in Mythographic Wild Winter by Joseph Kadamang. And then the final book. We finally made it. The final book. Apologies, I definitely needed some water there. But this is Alien Worlds. I am in love with this book. And a big reason for that is the wonderful buddy colour group that has been formed thanks to Happy Catastrophe. She put together a wonderful group of us and it has grown so much in this first month. And we're just so encouraging each other, so excited, so hyped to see everybody's pages. And I really want to show you everyone who completed a page this month. And I will be doing this every month as well. So I'm going to insert a little slideshow here of everyone's gorgeous pages. Here we go. Aren't they gorgeous? I'm so excited to share everybody in this group every month. So, I'm going to introduce to you everyone in the group, also those that haven't done a page this month. Again, this is a work at your own pace situation, so we are just making our way through this book at our own pace. So there are more of us in this group. So in alphabetical order, which does unfortunately put me first, I am Admiral Amy on the Galactic Glitter Path. That is my captain name because we have captain name and ship names, which is so fun as well. And then we have Candace from Happy Catastrophe here on Instagram and YouTube, who is Captain Catastrophe on the SS CloseCall. We have Cindy from Mindful Griff on Instagram, who is General Griff on the SS Corvus. We have Dana from Dabbler D on Instagram, and this is Captain StarGazer on the LWSS Galaxy Explorer GEX. We have Doodle Robot, who is Doodle Robot here on YouTube and Instagram, and that is Captain Doodle on the Nimoy. We have Emily from eArt Studios on Instagram and YouTube, who is Captain Emmy on the Sparkle Ship. We have Jen from Colouring Jen 1975 on Instagram, who I don't currently have a captain name or ship name for. We have Jess from Colouring Bumblebee on YouTube and Instagram, who is Sergent Bumble on the SS BuzzBee. We have Melissa from Winter 89 Colours, on Instagram and YouTube, who is Lieutenant Winter on the SS Icebreaker. We have Paula from Colouring Mum on Instagram, who is Captain Firefly on the SS Serenity. And then we have Tammy from Tammy Colors 2 on YouTube, or Tammy Niebling on Instagram, who I don't currently have a captain name or ship name for. So yeah, such a wonderful, amazing group of colorists. Thank you so much for inspiring me to keep working in this book so much this month. It is an addiction, and I'm so excited to keep working in here. But for now, let's show you the 2 pages that I completed this month. And it is this big, well, it's not a double page spread, but because I'm theming each planet around its own colour scheme, it does work as a double page spread as well. So first, let's look at our Solar Giant. Now, the Solar Giant was the first page that I started with. One of my goals is to get my existing whips down. So I should technically be working on a whip I have in this book. However, I wasn't inspired to work on it, and I had made the decision to work on the Solar Giant when I found Candace's video explaining about the creation of the group, and I was like, me please, I want to join. So yeah, I started with the Solar Giant. I do have to go back to the start and do the first few pages up to the Solar Giant. However, I also have future pages done, so yeah, this was a page I was inspired to start with, so I started here, and then I will work backwards. Once I finish the Lost Planet, I'll go back to the start and then carry on from there. So the reason I started with this one was because when I saw this page, I was thinking about how, oops, I've got some sort of mark on there. I must have dropped a pencil or something. I'll figure that out later. Oh, it might actually be a transfer from over there. I'll get that sorted later. I need to put some baking paper in here. I was thinking about bushfires. That's where this page started. Because this is a lost paradise, and I was thinking about how when a bushfire destroys a forest, we lose a paradise, like all that natural bushland and wonderful trees and nature and forest. But then nature finds a way to regrow, to reclaim, and to heal from that devastation and become a paradise again. And I liked that resurgence and that like determination to carry on. And so that's what got me thinking about this. And then I was like, it would be really cool to use like reds and oranges and like browns and like fiery colors. So that's where the red and orange for the sky and sort of the browns and terracottas for the ground started. And then I was like, well, I don't really want to do brown trees and do the whole thing brown. Purple's a cool complementary to it, so I just did purple. And that's what started this, and then I just threw in some pinks and some oranges, and I really love the colour scheme for the planet. And then I also added in glitter to the sky because the Lost Planet has actually an asteroid belt, and it talks about asteroids. So I was like, well, maybe there's lots of little things in the sky that's creating a glitter effect. Plus I love glitter. So yeah. So that's what started with the colour scheme. Now for both pages, I have used ink tints and then polychromos pencils for shading. Posca to do all the outlining. The glitter is Stickles. And then for the Apex Predator, I also used gouache to do this effect. And so, yeah, the Solar Giant, I just thought a bright yellow Solar Giant would be fun. It was just, I thought yellow would really pop. That was pretty much it. Yellow's cool. And then when it came to the Apex Predator, I was talking with a friend of mine, and I was talking about how in the back of the book it talks about how the Apex Predator is an expert at camouflage. And so she mentioned, well, maybe it could be translucent. I was like, oh, I don't want to do it translucent, but also, yes, it has to be translucent. So that's where this came from. And so, yeah, same materials as before, with the exception that I also used gouache to help with this sort of ghostly effect of the Apex Predator. And originally I was going to leave the tips of this uncoloured and have it red like the flower, so it was almost like it was appearing, which is why these stamen, I guess, or antlers or antennas are solid, because I wanted to have it almost materializing. However, when I was doing the gouache, it was just a heck of a lot easier to do the whole thing white. I could technically go back in there and add in the red, but I actually really like the whole thing being ghostly with just the antenna coming out solidly. So that was the idea there. But yeah, I am so excited to keep working in this book. It doesn't technically work for Mermaid, but I just want to keep on working in it. I love it. I'm so excited to keep doing more in here. Yeah, I am in love with this book, and I am in love with the group that has been created. You all inspire me so much and make me so eager to keep working in here. So thank you so much for bearing with me as I excitedly chat to you all. And I know we get like really chatty in there and we just talk about all sorts of stuff, and it's great. I'll wake up and there'll be like 50 messages because I've been chatting overnight, because we're based all around the world, so everyone's on at all sorts of times, and I just love it. And I'm so grateful to you all, and so happy to share all your wonderful Instagrams and YouTubes. And as I said, please check them out. And you know, if you're wanting to join as well, message Happy Catastrophe, because we've got explorers coming in all the time. So come and join us on our investigations. I am just so happy to carry on in this book. It's so fun. So yeah, that was everything I coloured in the month of April. So now let's do a quick little stats review. And I mean quick, because this video is already well over an hour. So this is the month of April. So you can see all my pages written down here. And we can see all my different totals and stuff like that. The total finished off pages, 24, as I said. Now, in terms of goal 1, getting my work in progress list down, I did not finish off a single whip. I didn't even touch any of these whips this month. However, I did not create any new whips. I finished off every single page that I worked on this month, and that is the first time that has ever happened. So I'm counting that as a win. We might not have got this down, but we didn't create any new ones. So that's pretty good for me. So we've still got 15 work in progress pages, and 5 of them from 2022. However, 6 pages, if I get 6 of the pages done, we are officially at 9 or under. So we're getting this total down. And then the other big goal is working in my bookshelf and my untouched books. So this month I got 9 new books, including the 4 mythographics and the princess colouring book. So that brought my total books up to 239. But of the 24 pages I finished, 19 of them were in new books. So it's another really good month for new books to be worked in, which brings the total number of my books that I've worked in to 124, which officially put the worked in total over 50%. We are at 51.9% of the shelf worked, and it is starting to really look full. We're getting so many books coloured in now. It is just looking so good. I have technically finished like a whole little stack here, which is so exciting. We're getting like really close to finishing off some shelves. It's really starting to come together. So yeah, I am very pleased with the progress this month in the books and what I managed to achieve. So if you made it to this point in the video, thank you so much. I would really appreciate it if you would give it a thumbs up, and also if you would subscribe if you're not already. We hit 2,900 subscribers this month. We are very close to 3K, which is also really exciting, and hopefully we'll hit that in the month of May. And yeah, let me know down below, what was your favourite page that I showed of the month? If you can't choose one, it's quite alright. List a couple. Let me know what you liked. I always love hearing from you, and I really appreciate you watching this video. I know it's long. I'm so sorry. I do a lot of colouring. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. So much aroha to you all. Take care. Happy colouring. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!